For the final time of the 2023-2024 season, it's a Jets game day. Both these teams, Jets and Patriots, eliminated from postseason contention, trying to end their season, start the 2024 year on a high note. For the Jets, trying to snap a 15-game losing streak against the Patriots. And for New England, trying to avoid their fewest win total since 1992. Welcome to Week 18. Welcome inside the studio. Ethan Greenberg, Eric Allen, Quincy Anunua here in Florham Park. We'll hear from Caroline Hendershot and Anthony Beck momentarily. EA, the Jets going to get this done today to close out the 2023 season and start 2024 on the right note, or what?
Well, number one, I want to say I'm happy to be in the studio with you gentlemen and not at Foxboro today. Man, it looks like we got a weather game on our hands. I don't know, to be honest with you. And when you look at this, numbers are very similar. The Jets are averaging 15.7 points a game. They have the NFL's 5th overall defense. The New England Patriots averaging 14.6 points a game. They have the NFL's 6th ranked defense. With those numbers paired up with the weather, you would figure that defenses are going to dominate. This is going to be a very low-scoring game. And then, oh, by the way, what's the environment going to be like there in Foxboro, Q? Because a lot of people are speculating this could be Bill Belichick's last game as head coach.
Yeah, absolutely. These are two very similar teams right here, right? Two defensive teams that have kept their teams in the game. Offensively, they had some struggles, quarterback issues, all those different things. Very similar teams on paper. But now you're talking about with the Bill Belichick story, you're going to probably have a full house there, right? People are going to want to see, is this possibly Bill Belichick's last game? The Jets are going to have a little bit of an audience. They got to go out there and play spoiler because the Patriots want to have a top draft pick, right? They want to bring a guy in to replace their quarterback, and this is a game that they need to win, to lose, obviously, right?
Look, we're going to hear from Caroline in a bit, but one thing is certain, the snow is coming across the screen from left to right. It's not up and down. It's going east to west here. Let's bring in Anthony Beck, who is also in a warm state in sunny Florida. But, AB, what would the message to your team be in a game like this where playoffs are out of reach and a lot of fans right now, or a handful of fans, should I say, have their mind on draft positioning as opposed to one final game in this season?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of that internal, never spoken about kind of situation. I mean, let's be honest, players aren't thinking about this. Players are going out there and try to play their best game to win. You know, all the talk about draft spots and where teams could end and all those things, you can't control those things, even as a play caller, because you can break a run. If you're going to call a dive every play, somebody may score. So I think this in general, from a player's perspective today, if you're a coach talking to your guys, ball security is a maximum.
Yep.
Every single instance the ball is moving in the game today is a possibility for disaster. And you have to minimize that from the quarterback snap to the handoff point to the backs. And then also, guys, tackling. You know, when it's cold and it gets to be, if some of the snow starts to stick on the ground, you know, you don't bend as much because you try to stay a little bit more balanced and upright, and it takes a little bit away from your athleticism. And backs can sometimes shimmy through and get themselves big runs. So, yeah, I do believe defenses prevail in this game. I do not see a lot of scoring, but with those factors in play that could happen, all of a sudden you can find yourself with a couple scores in the bucket after this game's done.
To AB's point, the Jets are -7 in the turnover differential department. The Patriots are -10.
Yeah, I think that turnovers, especially when going up against this Patriots team, and we're going to break down in a bit what makes the Patriots so good over the course of the test of time. I think that turnovers for the Jets, they've been very good at taking the ball away. This will be their first start or their first game playing against Bailey Zappi. Over the past 2 years, it's been Mac Jones. And the last time the Jets played at Foxboro, they got after Mac Jones, sacked him 6 times. The Jets did not sack Mac Jones 1 time in Week 3 at MetLife Stadium. And this guy on the screen right here, this is Xavier Newman, who could be playing right guard for the Jets. And it's just fitting the way that this season could end with potentially another offensive line change, EA, for the green and white.
Yeah, you know, bottom line is the Jets have not been able to have any continuity up front this season. And you take it a step back and look at the quarterback position. Of course, Trevor Siemian making the start for the Jets today. Zach Wilson placed on injured reserve officially on Saturday. So you had not this team has not had continuity up front or at the quarterback position. The quarterback position, most important in all of professional sports. I will say this about Bailey Zappi. You mentioned him starting today. It was a hot potato for him out there against the Buffalo Bills last week, Q.
Yeah.
3 interceptions, all coming in the first half. The Patriots turned it over 4 times in the first half in Buffalo.
Absolutely. 4 offensive turnovers for them yesterday in that game. And they were able to stay in that game. They really could have had a chance to win, but they just couldn't produce on the field. And that's what I talked about in the beginning, right? 2 teams are going out there this week with quarterback issues, and you have to figure out what that's going to be tonight, or today, excuse me. But I like the point that AB was talking about earlier. I know we're kind of going around, but he talked about, players not really thinking about, playoffs or, the draft picks and all those different things. I think, that's the beautiful thing about playing football. You have so many different personalities out there. There are some guys, like myself, when I was playing, when I was younger, my first game was the last game of the season. I really enjoyed going out there and playing hard. But then you have other guys that kind of mail it in. So today is one of those opportunities to see who's really going to see what they want to do out there on this field to show who they are and what their character is, because these games are hard to play when you have nothing else to play for.
Right now, the Patriots, that's actually Mac Jones throwing the football there. But you can tell that this could be, as EA mentioned, Bill Belichick's last game in New England. It could also be Matthew Slater's final game in New England, the special teams ace. All the Patriots players wearing an 18 captain hoodie. And obviously it's been speculation now for a couple seasons. Could it be his last? He comes back 1 year, and now this could be, in fact, his last. But let's head back out to Foxboro. And we've been talking about the weather for a while now, but let's bring in the actual boots on the ground. Caroline, what's been happening over the past 24 hours? Because in New Jersey, we have snow here, not a lot of snow in New York where I live, but what has been the situation in Foxboro over the past 24 hours?
Ethan, it's been flurrying for the past 24 hours. Not a lot has actually stuck to the ground, but now the flurries are coming in nice and sideways. So if you see me struggling to keep my eyes open, you know why. But for as far as the field conditions per se, it's slick because this snow is more so wet rain and a little bit of snow, but more so that rainy sleet. So today they're going to have their hands full. Again, AB mentioned ball security. That's going to be a big one, especially for the quarterbacks that are going to be going against each other. I know at the beginning of this season it was supposed to be Aaron Rodgers taking on Mac Jones, week 18, a big one, but now it's Bailey Zappi taking on Trevor Siemian. And Trevor Siemian said even though both teams have been eliminated from playoff contention, the big thing is that he said it would mean everything to him and to this team to get that win today. They're going to be fighting like hell, he said, and they've been doing everything they could to prepare all week for this. He also added he doesn't need any extra incentive to go out and win. You only get 17 games, so each one really matters. And he said the Patriots present a challenge because of how well coached they are. Obviously, Bill Belichick and potentially his last game has been talked about, but these two quarterbacks are definitely going to be fighting their butts off today.
Yeah, the weather definitely does not look something to be jealous of here as we are all cozy in the studio
Not
here
great.
in Florham Park. Caroline, we'll check in with you in a little bit. Anthony, I want to focus on what Caroline said there at the end. It was supposed to be Aaron Rodgers, 4 snaps into the season. Now the Jets are on their 4th different quarterback. Obviously, this is coming full circle here. What do you expect from Siemian today, starting his 3rd game for the Jets against the Patriots defense that, despite a record as a team, only 4 wins, still very stingy, still very good against the run and against the pass?
Yeah, I mean, much of the same. No disrespect to Trevor Siemian, but, you're down to your 3rd, your 4th guy. We're seeing this across the league. Some teams are managing it better than others. Trevor obviously is a guy that, get the ball out of your hands quick, get it to your playmakers, let them make the catch. I think the one thing that he's done well is he's found Breece Hall quite a bit in the passing game. That's allowed them to spring a few big runs. Looks like now that Breece Hall is an element for the passing game. That's an important feature for this offense. So that's a guy that will continue to catch the ball and get opportunities. And quite frankly, that's always a guy that's a tough matchup for any defense because of the linebackers or potential safeties coming from depth that may have to cover him out of the backfield. One thing that a little worrisome today that Trevor doesn't bring that Zappi could bring is just the legs of the quarterback. Those 37 yards Zappi had in a touchdown, those are critical yards. And I think if there's been a place over the test of time under this regime that has been a little bit of a downside is the quarterback using their legs. So we have one guy that's going to be a pocket guy that won't have that dimension versus another guy that will.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a fascinating game for a lot of reasons. Obviously, a couple Jets have potential milestones to achieve. We'll get to that in just a minute. But with Simeon in the lineup, EA, kind of going off of what Anthony said, what do you expect the Patriots to try to do to attack this Jets offense?
Well, number one, what's the trademark of a Bill Belichick coach team? He's going to take away your top options.
Yeah.
And for the Jets, he's going to try to target Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. Now, this is a defense that nobody, has been able to run against in the National Football League. They're number one against the run, and they're sixth overall. So I think the Patriots' game plan here Sunday afternoon at Foxboro is they're going to make sure that somebody else other than Breece Hall beats them.
Yeah.
Okay? And Garrett Wilson might be impacted by what's happening out there as far as the wind is concerned, Q,
Yeah,
and the elements.
I like that. Yeah. And one thing I really noticed when you watch the Bills game, usually you see them do a lot of doubling guys up. They really didn't double Stephon Diggs too often. So it'll be a thing where they're still finding ways to take out your best player without having a double. And they do a good job of disguising. Sometimes they'll do like a double mug. So they'll have two linebackers sitting up at the line, and then they'll invert two and do all types of crazy stuff that guys aren't used to seeing. So, Bill Belichick is one of the better defensive minds, better coaches in the game, right? So he's going to find a way to make it really difficult for Trevor Siemian today.
To your point, last week against the Buffalo Bills, the Patriots held Stephon Diggs to 4 catches for 26 yards. It was actually Dalton Kincaid who led Buffalo with 4 receptions for 87 yards. He did have a 51-yard reception. And this is your chance, fans. It's the final show of the season. It's your final time to participate in this season's All In or Not. Today, we were talking about it a little bit, but Breece Hall needs a total of 105 scrimmage yards to reach 1,500. Will he do it all in or not today? And we'll see what the fans ended at. I would imagine they'd end in at all in because 72-28.
The early results are in, huh,
Yeah,
Graves?
the early results are, the early polls are in. But we're going to go through it here later on in the show. So we mentioned it earlier, or I mentioned it off the top. The Jets have fell to the Patriots 15 straight games. 2015, Quincy, you were a part of that team that beat the Patriots. It was the year before I joined the New York Jets. It was an overtime game. What's made them so good to withstand the test of time, even before 2015?
Right. Well, we're going to start obviously with Tom Brady, right? They had one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play. That obviously helped them a lot. But then defensively, like I said earlier, Bill Belichick does a great job of scheming up. Like when I played, when it was me, B. Marsh, and Eric Decker, B. Marsh would always say, anybody that's playing behind us too has to make sure you get open because they're going to double. They're going to find a way to take out your best guys. And they do that every time. They do a great job of it. They don't care about the holes in the defense because they know your third option is using out a guy that can beat you. So in this game here, your two options right there, right? Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, those guys got to come up big, but they're not going to be able to do it every down. So who's going to show up today? And the young guys especially, right? In the last game of the season, you bring up a lot of young guys to see what you have on the roster. You want to keep those guys on your team. So those guys got to step up big, right? Brownlee, if he's active, right? Gibson, right? Those guys, they got to come in, show something, right? Make a big play, make a splash, get everybody excited because you guys are the ones that we're going to rely on today.
Right there, that's Chris Glazer. He was a part of a 9-player transaction on Saturday. Basically, what happens this time of year when, if you're Joe Douglas, you sign players like Chris Glazer to your active roster, you get a jump on the reserve futures. Yep. Zach Wilson, Jeremy Rucker, Jacob Hansen, all dealing with concussions, all placed on injured reserve. The Jets elevated a pair of players from the practice squad to today's active roster, Nick Bawden and kicker Austin Seibert, which I think is a little interesting because Greg Zuerlein not on the injury report. If I had to guess, I would imagine Seibert is probably going to be inactive because why would you carry 2 kickers unless for some reason Zuerlein ends up not kicking today? But I wanted to go one step further. The Jets beat the Patriots in 2015 at MetLife Stadium. That was an overtime game. The last time the Jets beat the Patriots in regulation was 2011. To bring this full circle, the last time the Jets beat the Patriots in regulation in the regular season in New England was 2006. Now, I want to bring everybody in for this segment or this question right here, including Caroline in Foxboro. Does anyone want to guess either the top Billboard song from 2006 or the top grossing movie in 2006?
2006. I was a freshman in high school.
Oh, man, that's a good question.
I'll give you the number 2 song. The number 2 song was Temperature by Sean Paul, which is a banger.
Uh-oh.
And the number
Great
2
song.
movie was Cars with Lightning McQueen.
Oh, man.
Interesting.
So, I know.
I would go to the Google for any answers here.
could I have a
was going to
hint?
say something like,
Yeah, I'll get. Would you like a hint on the movie or would you like a hint on the song?
The song.
what's the genre?
The genre?
Yeah.
I would. One Hit Wonders is the genre.
Okay.
It's very much similar to the song you're
Oh.
like in terms of one hit wonders. Like remember the song "You're Beautiful" by James Blunt? Like you didn't hear of James Blunt after the fact, right? So it's in that vein, and I would say this will be a giveaway. It's a way to describe your 24 hours. Is it an okay
Way
day?
to describe your 24.
Is it a good day?
It's a Beautiful Day by you two.
Oh, my God. I have a
Is
question.
that what it is?
I don't know.
It's not. Caroline, what do you got?
Oh, that's a good guess. I got it. I think I got it. Is it Best Day Ever by Mac Miller?
What?
No,
I was
it's
about
not.
to say.
It's not.
Dang!
It's Bad Day by Daniel Powder. Do you remember that? 'Cause you
Oh,
had a bad
that's a bummer.
day. It is One Hit Wonders. It's coming back.
Okay.
The top domestic movie was Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest.
Johnny Depp?
Johnny Depp. A lot of great movies. The Departed came out in 2006. Casino Royale came out in 2006. Talladega Nights came out in 2006.
Talladega Nights.
That's Greg Zerline right there, so he's warming up, so he looks fine. I know that's a side note on a little piece of history here, but all this to say, the Jets haven't beaten the Patriots in New England in the regular season in regulation since 2006. Now, Anthony Becht, I know that New England has been known to play a couple tricks or two when you're in Foxboro, maybe a little mind games as well. Have you either been a part of a team that's been subject to that or heard of any good stories that you can share with us on Pregame Central?
Man, you know, I mean, when I was playing, guys, I mean that matchup was pretty intense.
Yep.
I mean, there really was no sway on favorites. You know, some would say we offered the shot of the century when Drew Bledsoe got knocked out, and a man named Tom Brady stepped on the field. Yeah, I don't know if there's any tricks to what they do, man. I just think they outcoach everybody. I mean, that's just what they've been doing.
Yeah.
Now, I think that a lot of those coaches, the great ones that were in the peak of the Patriots, have kind of dismantled a bit, and not all of them are in play. But that's always been the deciding factor to me when you're looking at, you know, tricks of the. To me, it was plain and simple. They beat you man on man every single week, and they had guys that bought in to what they were selling, and if they didn't, they got rid of you. So there was no room for error there. And I always felt like they did more with less. You know, most of the players that we know that were great players there or did great things, I don't think anybody knew who they were when they were first on the team over those years. They coached them up, they executed at a high level, and they had a great quarterback. Now, could they have done all those things without a great quarterback? I don't think so. Nobody can. And you can see now that, you know, they've limited themselves. Coaches have departed. There's been a bit disarray. You know, there's no quarterback. So now they've become pretty similar to the rest of the teams that don't have those pieces in play. And that's why you hear all the noise, basically, of everything there. But I don't know. I don't really see anything that I can remember that was always that was some kind of trick or anything like that. I mean, they always used to outsmart you on some things as far as like maybe circumstantial stuff, you know, extra player, you know, knowing getting around the loophole of a rule because nobody's really practiced it. They're just on top of everything.
Yeah.
And trying to put everything they can out there to win a football game.
So a couple things to consider here, and I was there in 01 as well with Anthony when Bledsoe was knocked out of that game, and then they turned to this skinny kid from Michigan who they took in the 6th round, Tom Brady. So this is an amazing run for Belichick. 24 seasons now, 6 Super Bowls, 9 conference titles, and 17 division crowns. With that being said, without Tom Brady, the Patriots have missed the postseason 3 of the past 4 seasons, including this year. And then, further that, as Green's opened the show here, Q, this is the lowest win total, perhaps, if the Jets win this game, he's ever had. This is his 24th season 4 wins on the table right now for the New England Patriots. So it's an interesting dynamic. And I'm going to be fascinated to see what is the environment like on their sideline, on their bench, also inside that stadium today. I think it's going to be charged up, not like anything we've seen before for a team that has won 4 games.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think the Patriots game is always tough, and then you factor in the fans. Not that it equates to Bills Mafia, nothing does, I think, but New England fans are dedicated, and I understand that you could see some fair weathers stay at home, but I do think that the stadium will be pretty rocking. And I know that this is the end of the 2023 season, but you don't want to miss your chance to win 2 2024 Jets season tickets plus a year of free Dunkin' coffee. You would need some on a day like today, especially if it's warm, maybe some hot chocolate. Text Dunkin' to 26154 to enter the Dunkin' Holiday Sweepstakes. Terms do apply. All right, now it's time for our X Factors here. Let's bring everybody in. And Caroline, let's start with you. And by the way, Best Day Ever, Mac Miller, released in 2011, so 5 years after the last time the Jets beat the Patriots in Foxboro in the regular season.
I jumped the gun. But, okay, I will say my X factor for today is got to be Jermaine Johnson. The Patriots have allowed 41 sacks, which is the 12th most in the NFL right now. And Jermaine is coming off of one of his best games with the pick 6, the fumble recovery, and the pass defense. So he is just an absolute monster. He is constantly getting after the quarterback. So I think he's going to give Bailey Zappi a really hard time today. I think every game this season, he's just got continually better. So why not have his best game yet, the season finale?
I guess I'll take it from here.
Teams. I think special teams, when we're talking about blunders that could happen in weather, this is where it's at. Catching punts, snaps, holds, punting, all those things become critical areas. And I think it could be a huge X factor for the team that takes advantage of them the most. It's going to happen today. It's just a matter of which one will do it.
Yeah, on a day like today, you would usually think that the X factor is going to be the run defense, but I'm going to go with the pass defense on this one. And here's why, right? I talked earlier about how they're so creative in the back end. We know it's going to be a game that the Jets have to run the ball. So the pass defense is going to be critical for the Patriots because they're going to have to pay attention because they're forcing the Jets to run the ball here. So there's going to be opportunities for the Jets to try to throw the ball because of that. So if they don't make sure that they, are protecting the back end, play action pass, screens, all those different things, the Jets can take advantage of that. The Patriots they've only allowed one 100-yard receiver the whole year.
A little reverse psychology from Quincy.
Yeah, how about that? I'm going Christian Barmore, the talented defensive tackle for the Patriots, another stellar Alabama product. 8.5 sacks this season, 6 PDs. But I will say he was limited throughout the week. There are 12 Patriots that are questionable for this game. I think he'll be in the lineup, though. He's one of the better interior players in football.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And also 8.5 sacks. He's doing a very good job this year. For me, it's Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott, right now, the only running back on the Patriots, not named Ramondre Stevenson, who gets a lot of work. And Ramondre Stevenson's on IR. And you think about what Zeke did in week 1. He had 80 rushing, or week 3, when these teams played. He had 80 rushing yards. He's second on the team in receptions. To Quincy's point about the Patriots' pass defense, but flip it to the Jets have a great pass defense. So you would imagine they'd contain Bailey Zappi. In order to win this game, contain Zeke. That really puts yourself in the best scenario to win this game. And start your year off great, end your year off great. And that guy right there, we'll see if he's inactive. That's Jason Brownlee in a little bit. The 2024 season is right around the corner. You got to be at MetLife Stadium next season to experience the action and energy of Jets game day. Lock in your 2024 season tickets to see the biggest matchups of the year. Learn more at nyjets.com/season tickets. Couple opponents still in the mix here or up in the air for the 2024 opponents for the Jets. We'll dive into that more in the Jets overtime. That brings us to the final segment of All In or Not Today of the 2023-2024 season. We're going to put the records up in a moment, but it's been a great year, as always. We changed the lineup a little bit in terms of the way that we ask the questions. Everyone's answering one question, but Caroline.
Hold on. It has been a great year, no doubt about it, but I do think somebody.
Wow.
is a champion here
Oh, my God.
as we enter Week 18.
Yes.
Ethan has cemented his status as the all-in or not today champ for 2023.
Wow.
And Quincy?
As the reigning champ, man, it hurts me to have to give you this, right? But I'm proud of what you did. Last year you didn't really do as well, so this year you really showed up. So here, I'll give you the honors of opening it.
This is a
little backhanded compliment. I appreciate it.
a beautiful gold box.
It is a beautiful gold box.
And Anthony wrapped it.
How's it open?
Push.
Okay, great.
Since Anthony finished in last this year, he did wrap it for us.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
Wow.
I sent a bag
I
of
see what
nuts
it is.
to
Put
you,
this on.
Ethan, because even a blind squirrel can find those. So that's
Yeah.
what you get from me.
This is like the turnover chain.
The champ is here.
Do I look good?
Yeah, man, it looked
The
good.
sombrero stayed in the back.
Yeah, not this time.
Yeah, this time.
Maybe if you're a two-time champ.
For you look okay. Caroline, your thoughts?
I will say, as humble as Ethan is being right now and playing this off very cool, I know he is ecstatic that he won this because I know how competitive he is. And Q, I'm feeling for you because I know how competitive you are.
Yeah.
So that was very big of you. But as for today and all in or not today, I'm gonna go not today. I don't think that Breece Hall's gonna do it, and that's no slight against Breece Hall. I really think the weather is gonna just play a big factor today. I think it's gonna be a lot of messy football. I don't think it's gonna be that high scoring, and I don't think that there's gonna be a lot of yards by either team. So I'm going not today.
AB, how about you?
I'm going all in. Congrats, by the way, Ethan.
Thank you.
Your due is your due. So, I'll have to bounce back in 2024 and figure it out. But I am all in. I think, I saw a recent snow game a couple weeks ago where I saw a back slip through some tackles. And where people were thinking they weren't going to run the ball, they ended up breaking all kinds of records. So I think Breece is one of those guys. He's slippery as it is on a good day. I think he gets the advantage more than not on days like this. He's born for this kind of weather, so he knows what to do, what to expect. So, I think he's going over this total combined today in total yards.
Yeah, I'm going right there with you. I'm going all in. Breece Hall is an Iowa State guy. Grew up watching Nebraska, so he knows what this is about.
What?
I think his uncle or his cousin is a former Nebraska, maybe Roger Craig or somebody. I'll have to research that later. But anyways, this guy's going for 105 yards today. It's nothing for him to play in the snow.
EA?
I'm going not today. I'm following Caroline's lead here. I think Breece Hall is the Jets' top offensive weapon, no doubt about that. I think that the Patriots are going to devise a game plan to try to have somebody else beat them. Remember, the Patriots, #1 in the National Football League against the run. And this game, Greens, is going to be played in a phone booth, bottom line. There's not going to be a lot of space out there.
All right, so I guess I'm playing tiebreaker here. So am I siding with Anthony Becht, Quincy, and the former players, or am I staying with the reporter crew? And I'm going not today. I'm staying with the team reporters here, Caroline and EA. I'm in agreement that I think it kind of comes full circle. I understand what Anthony's saying about Breece having the advantage, but as far as the Jets are concerned, every time they play the Patriots, recently, Bill Belichick has done a great job limiting what the Jets do well or want to try to do well. I think for Breece Hall or for the Jets, that is the game plan. And I think for the Patriots, that is the game plan, trying to stop that guy who did play at Iowa State. He's familiar with the snow game. Iowa State also played in a recent snow game, Anthony. I think was that what you were referencing?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see what the fans want to do here. I think they're going to join and make it a tie here. Yep, 70.9% go all in. Breece Hall will reach 105 scrimmage yards at least to reach 1,500 this season. He'd be the first Jets player to do so since Brandon Marshall in 2015. He'd be the first Jets running back to do so, I believe, since Thomas Jones. So it's been a long time for the green and white. Anthony, thank you. Caroline, thank you. We'll finish up here in studio. The Jets inactives. It is 11:30, which means here they are. Alan Lazard is, in fact, inactive, which means Quincy, as you said earlier, Jason Brownlee poised to start for the Jets. Aaron Rodgers, of course, Austin Deculus, Carl Lawson, Bryce Hall, Marcelino, McCrary Ball, and Austin Siebert are the Jets inactives. That's Tyler Conklin. We'll see what he has in store, going the no sleeves, showing off the ink as he usually does. Stay tuned all game long, all day long. Jets Patriots week 18. It's the last time you'll see the Jets line up against an opponent since or until 8 months from now, back in September. So make sure to lock in. We'll be here for Jets Overtime, breaking down everything Jets off season and this game after the game. Jets Patriots, an hour and a half away in Foxboro.